All right, so I wanted to go over one of my upper days on the YouTube for you guys. So this is just going to be a voiceover and kind of going through just like my thoughts and some of the movements, and I'll talk about sets and rep ranges and kind of why I pick specific movements. But yeah, it was a nice rainy day. I thought it was pretty cool, so I recorded some of it, but pretty cool shot. So how I like to warm up before I start my workout is very basic. I just do a 5-minute walk on the treadmill, just pick my music, get the music set up for the workout so I don't have to be looking at my phone too much. Yeah, just kind of like make sure I'm ready to work out. All right, so I'm going to be starting with a chest supported row, and this machine is fantastic, but I wanted to talk about how I warm up for my top set. So I'll pick a really light weight, a very easy set just to get the movement down, make sure everything feels right, make sure I'm feeling my back, and it's not strenuous at all, just to feel it. And once I do that, I'll do like 12 reps of that. And once I feel ready to go, then I'll start really warming up. And every warm up set after that, I'll probably only do 1 to 3 reps just to gauge how strong I'm going to be that day. And so, yeah, I'll just throw on, 2 more plates or a plate each time, do 1 rep. And that way I'm not fatiguing myself at all, but I'm warming up adequately for my first set. And I don't want to exhaust myself at all. So you shouldn't have, you shouldn't be doing a set of 10, at 70% of a weight that you can do, because that is just wasting your energy for your main set. And I think that this is really important for progressive overloading. But just, you know your body best, make sure you're warm for these top sets. All right, so now that I'm warmed up, I am strapping in, and I took probably about 4 minutes rest. And because I was just warming up and my body's not really that tired, 4 minutes is enough for me. But after this first set, if I were to do a second set, I would probably rest, 5-6 minutes just to make sure that I'm, ready to progress again. And with this movement, I've really been trying to, keep my ribs down and not like swing that shit back with my erectors, because my lower back is really strong, and it oftentimes just wants to take over to make these movements easier, but I really want to grow my back, so I'm trying to keep my chest on the pad and just purely pull with just my back and not, arch backward and have my chest come off of the pad. So that's something I've been really focusing on, not only on this specific machine, but really every machine. As far as sets and reps go, I think people get too caught up with, specific sets and reps. I think it really depends on, your training, and, it gets a little bit more complicated. But for me personally, certain movements I'll do more sets on because they're not very fatiguing. Like I could do 1,000 sets and not be fucked up, like not be, my body isn't going to be destroyed like lateral raises or something. But for something like this specific movement, I like to stay around, 4, sometimes I get 3 reps even, and then I'll do another set, because 3 reps is not very fatiguing, even though I'm using a lot of weight. If I end up getting 3 reps, overshooting, trying to PR, I will still do another set of around, 6 to 8 reps, just to make sure that I'm getting in, a little bit more volume. Because if I go for a PR and only get 3 reps, I'm not going to be like, all right, that's the entire workout, right? I still need to, get more volume in, just to, I feel like that's just what you need to grow. And that first set of 3 is, ensuring that I'm trying to get stronger, or ensuring that I am getting stronger. So sometimes you get humbled by the weights and you only get 3 reps, but sometimes you throw that, crazy amount of weight on that you only think you're going to get, oh shit, I might only get 4 reps, 5 reps, but you actually end up getting, 8 reps or something like that, just because, I don't know, I just send it sometimes, and I think that that's a great way to progress. And speaking of sending it, I threw a 25 on behind that 45 plate. You can't really see it, on the pec deck, but I really wanted to PR on this because I've seen how so many people are just ridiculously strong on the pec deck, and I'm like, I can do that. I gotta stop, confining myself to, okay, this is the full stack, this is as high as it gets. No, that's thinking too inside the box, man. You have to believe that you can just, the machine is, it's not strong or it's not heavy enough, right? Anything is possible. So yeah, my form wasn't the best here, but at least, my fucking ribs weren't coming up, my chest wasn't coming off too much or coming up too much. So I was really excited about that set actually, because that was a pretty big PR. And my chest was actually destroyed from it. But yeah, also on pec deck, I'm working on not having my back come off of the pad and also not having my chest come up too much, because I end up cheating a lot when my chest comes up, because my chest will come up and then it'll come down, and that's like swinging the weight forward. So yeah, I've just been trying to keep a steady, constant form, and this set wasn't the prettiest, but I'm still happy with it. I'll refine the form a little bit next time I do it. So also on that pec deck, I actually ended up only doing one set there. And the reason for that is, you'll see later on in the workout, is I'm trying to get a lot stronger on my pressing movements. I'm really weak on my pressing movements, and I'm really strong on the fly movement. And the reason for that is because in my program, flies are priority. They are the first chest movement of my workout. And I think I'm getting to a point where, okay, I got really strong with the pec deck, and now I want to get strong at pressing movements. So going forward after this workout, I actually switched them around. So my next workout that I did a chest press first, and yeah, I was able to progress much more on the chest press movement, which makes sense because I'm doing it first. My chest is going to be tired from doing pec deck. But this workout, the idea was, okay, I'm going to do one set on pec deck, and so that way I'm able to progress on the chest press movement. Now that didn't work out very well because my chest was absolutely destroyed just from that one set of pec deck. My chest wasn't destroyed, but I just was weak for the chest press movement. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I like to do a chest movement, a back movement, a chest movement, a back movement. That way I feel fresh going into the exercise. And here I have the humbler. This is the most humbling chest supported row. And I'm not actually doing a row. I'm doing a shrug here. So for me, I can do barbell shrugs, and I got extremely strong on barbell shrugs. I was doing like 6 something or maybe 585 for shrugs for reps, and that was just really hard on my body. So I was thinking, okay, let me look into a trap movement that works really well. And I've been seeing some guys, some science-based lifting guys do this, and I tried it and I absolutely loved it, and it's a new thing I can progressive overload on, and I don't have to throw on 8 plates and be wiggling that shit and frying my nervous system just to grow my traps. Now, doing barbell shrugs with a ton of weight is fucking badass, and I think if you like it, which I love it, I think it's also a great trap movement. But if you're looking for something different and you're just so strong on barbell shrugs that it ends up getting diminishing returns, I really recommend trying this. At first it was a little bit awkward for me. I had to actually take a video of myself doing it because my chest was coming off, I was using my erectors too much, and the movement, I honestly still don't have the movement down, but it felt super foreign just doing this little tiny shrug. But I think that this is one of the best trap movements. And with this movement, you really feel it throughout your entire trap, all the way up to, the back of your head, where it feels like it's, inserting into the back of your neck and, sprawling all the way down your back. And it feels like it looks super cool, if that makes sense. Like if you were to grow huge traps from doing that movement. I don't know if that really makes sense. But Here we go. I'm doing I'm doing my first chest press movement, and I'm actually going to move these to the beginning of my workout. I'm horribly weak on my chest press movements and really any machine press, and I see other dudes, pressing crazy amounts of weight, and they have a huge chest. And comparison may be the thief of joy, but comparison also allows me to see what, other people can do. And, seeing other people use crazy weights makes me believe that I can do it. And I believe that I can do it. So I'm going to move this to the beginning of my workout and really prioritize getting strong on this, just as I did with pec deck. And I think that I'm just going to go back and forth doing that until I can lift the entire fucking gym. That's kind of the concept. So, yeah, I was really pissed at myself actually this set. I don't know if you could tell, but I failed at, I think it was 5 reps again at the same weight I did last week. And I was just like, a waste, like it's horrible. How did I do that? I was just like thinking, and that's what made me decide to switch it to the beginning of my workout, because I have to do the fucking walk of shame, take the 10s off, and do another set, because that first set was just so god awful. But good news, the next upper body workout I did, when I did move it to the beginning of my workout, I got 3 plates of 25 a 10 for 8 reps. So it was a huge PR, and that felt fantastic. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to tell you guys that, because maybe there's something that you're bad at that that's pissing you off. Figure it out. Get stronger. All right, so quickly going over what we just went through was 2 back exercises and 2 chest exercises. For the chest exercises, I only did 1 set on my first movement, and I did 2 sets on my second movement. For back, I did 2 sets on both movements. Now, depending on the day and really going into how I'm feeling and stuff will really determine the amount of sets I do. If I really feel like I can progress or handle a lot more volume, I will do it. And if I feel like I can recover from it, I'll keep, adding sets. I'll keep, learning from each workout and figuring out what I can handle and what I can't handle and what I want to be able to handle. And yeah, it sounds more complicated than it is, but really it's just mostly just intuitive lifting, along with, trying to use my brain to ultimately progress in the gym. But since we're done with chest and back, I'm moving to a shoulder movement. And I love this lateral raise. Now, lateral raises are not very fatiguing. If you really think about how you feel after a movement, right? You're not going to do 3 sets of RPE 10 squats. Now, I used to do that, but I would be wrecked for days and days and days, and no way I'd be able to hit another leg workout, right? But with lateral raises, I can do 4 sets till absolute failure, just destroying my shoulders, going as hard as I possibly can, and I'm gonna be completely recovered for next upper body day. So really think about how you feel after a movement and how you're recovering from that movement, and that'll kind of tell you what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. I think that is really important. Understand your body and really think about how you're feeling and recovering, and when certain things work, jot that down in your brain, and when certain things don't work, jot that down in your brain, and that's how you become, I feel like, a better lifter. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm really not a big guy, and I'm not a genetic freak. I mean, I have good genetics, I realize that, but I really try and work hard at this. I think that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface with what is possible with natural bodybuilding and natural lifting in general. I am not a bodybuilder, and I don't claim to be, but I really think it's cool. And I was talking about this with Nick P the other day, and we were basically talking about how if natural bodybuilding was as popular as, let's say, basketball or football, we would be seeing the most incredible physiques ever, just purely because there's more people doing it, and people with better genetics, and the more people that get into something, the more freaks you're going to see. I don't think that we've even begun to understand the level of physiques that can, be created in a gym. And I think that the more, we have guys who watch my videos and, really care, I think that we're going to see incredible physiques. And that's honestly, I was also talking about this. My faith in having an incredible natural physique at the beginning of my lifting, journey or whatever, was extremely high. And that reason is because of a bunch of fake naturals. The fake naturals made me believe that I could look like fucking just ridiculous. I don't want to name drop people, but it made me think that I could look insane. And then, 4 years into lifting, I realized, damn, all my favorite, YouTubers and the people I looked up to, we're running a bunch of fucking gear and SARMs and all that shit. And that kind of killed my belief of what I could achieve. Even though I had already created a very good physique based off, well, I think my belief. But now I'm even maturing past that, and my belief that I can create or that natural physiques can be even crazier is now super high again. And I think that's just because, I don't know, I see certain guys who are natural, and I see, the progress lately I've been making, and what, just by learning more and what's possible, I just really think that we don't even know, man. It's super exciting, and I want to know, and I'm going to find out. So, yeah, I just kind of want to talk about that with you guys. So, now I think that, everything I talked about in this video, I think it can be potentially dangerous for early lifters, because they might see this and think, oh, this is what's going to be best for me. And I really do not think that training like this as a, 1 to 3 year lifter is really a good idea. Because if I were to be watching this video and I was a beginner lifter, let's just say me when I was 18, 19 years old, I would have been like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're not doing nearly enough. Like, and I think at that age, I think that that's actually a good mindset to have. I think that you should be like, hell no, I can recover from way more than him. I can, I'm getting stronger way faster. I think that ego, right? Everyone's running from the ego, but I think that is a good mindset to have. When you're in those first few years of lifting, you have a superpower, man, and you just have the ability to progress super fast and be, I don't know, you can really do something special in those first few years of lifting. And, personally, I think that also in those first few years of lifting, you're not going to be super, super strong, right? So you can do 3 sets of squat to failure and be fine for the next workout. Or you can, do certain movements and do a ton of sets of just purely because you're not freakishly strong yet. The stronger you get, the more you have to be careful about how you're working out. Because if I was lifting how I did when I was, 19 years old, I would get hurt within a couple weeks just because I would be doing so much fucking volume with as much weight as I possibly could, which I think is great, if you're not that strong. But once you get stronger, you need to start thinking a little bit more. And I just kind of want to talk about that because I don't want you guys to think that, it's bad. Nothing is bad. Everything in lifting is fucking fantastic, man. Going through with your buddies to the gym and taking loads of pre-workout and, hitting 1 rep maxes on your compounds. I did all that, man. And I think it's super fun. I think everyone needs to experience that because it's really special. And also, lifting until my body can't even fucking move anymore with my friends. Like, just doing stupid shit, like, because for the sake of it being hard, right? Just for the sake of, let's see how diabolical we can make this workout to where we're throwing up, right? I think that is also just fucking fantastic, and I think it can't hurt to do it, man, and experience that, whether it just be you or with your friends. I think that is super special too. So I don't want you guys to see this video and think that I think that this is the only way and I look down upon other, ways of working out, because I don't. I really, I just love everything about working out, man.